Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I put together a fall crafting marathon for you. 20 of my best fall DIYs that I've made so far here on my channel, so enjoy. First DIY I have for you today, I wanted to try out some of this frosted film from Dollar Tree to see if I could do like kind of a frosted fall sign. This is the one, it's got like a leaf or like floral print all over it. I also picked up a Dollar Tree picture frame. I thought maybe we could do like a cool fall sign, and instead of Cricut vinyl, we could actually use that window film from the Dollar Tree and see if we could get the Cricut to cut that out. So I just got a Dollar Tree frame. It doesn't matter which one. I just kind of wanted a lightweight one. And I am going to go ahead and use the glass from that frame. So I'll know exactly how much of this to cut out. I thought this would probably be the easiest way to do it. So I'm just going to kind of sketch the glass on the back of that window film. I got some spray paint, like frosted paint the other day that I'm anxious to try, maybe for some Halloween DIYs. And I wanted to kind of try this frosted film because they've had this at Dollar Tree for a couple of years and I have never made anything out of it. So I'm using my light grip mat because I know how materials from Dollar Tree are. They really like to stick to Cricut mats, at least with their vinyl. So I'm not taking any chances here. I'm just going to put that down, film side up, paper side down, making sure that it is good and flat before I put it in my Cricut. And I'm just going to do a simple like fall cutout with that. While that's cutting though, we can go ahead and start on the frame. I just want to have the glass in there, have a frosted glass in there, so I don't need a back. So I just pulled out all of the little metal tabs, making sure not to break my frame. Now the frame is plastic, but it's got this great texture on it that kind of looks like wood. And I'm going to try a new color today. This is called Golden Sunset. It is by Apple Barrel. I picked it because it was really close to that like honey color that's really hot for fall. Now on my first coat here on the frame, I did add a little bit of ivory to it to lighten it. I felt like maybe I lightened it too much because it is kind of supposed to look like a honey tone. And so I'll show you how I darken that back up some so that I can still use it. I gave it a quick dry, and then this is how I'm going to darken it back up. Just some antique wax by Waverly, which kind of gives me a little bit more brown tone to it, but I'm going to go with it. I think it's a good color for fall, and I want to do a lot of traditional fall colors today. Nothing too bright and crazy, but for those of you that want to do more like traditional fall decor, now I want the frame to stand up, so I'm going to use one of these chunky slat boards from the Dollar Tree. I'm not going to cut it or anything. I think it's going to be perfect. I can attach the frame to it, but I want it to match. So I just give it a coat all over of that same like golden sunset color. And I love the wood grain on that frame because it kind of really makes it look like wood, even though it's not. Now for the glass, I want to make sure that I get it really good and clean. I think that's really important when you add any kind of frosting to any kind of glass. So I just made sure that I got pretty much everything off of it. And then we can start working on our window film. The image that I designed was just a fall tree that has like lost all of its leaves. And I thought that would be really pretty on here for a cutout. So I just pulled that out, and we're going to attach the rest of the film to the glass. Now, since there's still small pieces cut out in there, I am going to have to use transfer paper. So I just use my paper transfer paper that I use for Cricut vinyl, and use that to transfer that over to the glass. So just like vinyl, I just make sure it is stuck down. And the setting that I used on my Cricut to cut this was called Window Decal. I had some trouble with that. I think there's a glitch with the Cricut design space system where you can't choose custom materials. I had to like set it up on my phone, which I'm not used to having to do. But I just lay my glass right onto it. and then flip it over, scraping it down, and then I just peel off my transfer tape, keeping it nice and flat against it while I pull it off, and make sure I don't take any of the frosting film with me. And it turned out so cool. Do you see that cool tree cutout? I think that combined with like the leaf pattern on there really looks fun for fall. So it was a success. First time I've tried the frosting film. I think this can have lots of good applications. I think there's a different print of this too, maybe like a diamond print. So I like it better with the film on the back. I was kind of trying to decide. You can really see the leaves and stuff if you have it on the front, but if you flip it over, it gives you more of the frosted look, I think. So I'm going to put it in there with the film on the back. So just kind of testing that out. But isn't that cool? I'm going to have to use it again because I think that was really easy. I didn't wet the glass or anything to avoid air bubbles, but I really only had like maybe one or two, and I was able to scrape those out pretty easily. So now it's just a matter of attaching this to the frame. We took out the staples in the back, so we're going to have to use a little hot glue to attach it. And my new hot glue gun that I was so excited about, not working great. So might have to send that back and get a new one before I put that in my shop because I don't want to recommend it if it is not going to work right. But I was able to hot glue that into my frame. And now it's just a matter of attaching it to the base that we made. I saw a few bubbles in there, and luckily the film's on the back. And I think that kind of looks better too. I was able to just scrape those out. And the frame is so lightweight because it's made out of plastic that I think this is going to be really easy to brace. And I'm just going to do it with hot glue. So I just do a bead of hot glue along our craft board there from the Dollar Tree, and then just sit in my frame, sticking straight up, maybe tilted back a little bit. For this step, you'll just have to kind of hold it until your hot glue dries. You can use a stronger glue for this, but mine seems pretty sturdy. Wasn't that easy? I think that's a really fun fall idea. It just kind of came to me and I thought we should give it a try. Now for an even cozier fall vibe, I thought, well, maybe one of these battery operated candles would be really pretty behind it, glowing through the frosted glass. And this was really hard to photograph. My normal location, you really couldn't see the tree cutout. So I'm kind of showing you how it looks here up against my walls, which are a little bit darker, so you can see that great cutout of the tree. And then this is kind of how it looks all together. Isn't that sweet? I really like that tree design, and I will share that Cricut file with you so you can cut that out yourself. And this is kind of how it looks with a candle behind it. Really hard to take a picture of this with the frosted cutout. But doesn't that look cozy for fall? I think that's really fun. I love the simplicity of the tree as well. Hey guys, are you enjoying today's video? If you are, be sure to hit that like button. It always helps my videos here on YouTube. Up next, we're going to do a fun fall sign. I'm going to include a free printable with this, so let's get started. So again, I'm going to use that same exact frame that we used before, the plastic wood one, but this time we're going to do kind of something completely different with it, but it looks so cool. So I chose to use this frame for this DIY because the back was already kind of messed up, and we are not going to need that at all anyway. This is going to provide like the external frame for the hanging sign. So I remove the glass and I remove all the little pins. Just be sure to bend those kind of back in place before you pull them out. You don't want your plastic cracking. And then I think this is a 10-inch piece of craft wood from the Dollar Tree, which I'm going to use for the stand on the bottom. And it actually ended up not being quite big enough. I did have to end up using 2 of those. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to give the same exact finish to this frame that I did on the other frame. Again, I want it to look like driftwood. And so I'm going in first with the cashew and distressing all over just like we did before. It turned out so pretty. I really like that technique. And another really great color to use for driftwood is if you mix ivory together with Antique Wax by Waverly, but the cashew is pretty close. So I had it, so I used it. And I went ahead and just distressed all over the stand as well. Now, this I included because I wanted to show you guys that we all have like a massive craft fails. Will you look at how much Antique Wax by Waverly I spilt all over my so much, but you know your girl is not going to be wasting all that Antique Wax by Waverly, right? So I scooped it all up and put it back in the container, but that's going to be the explanation of why my container is going to look like a hot mess now. So I thought that was kind of funny. So I left it in. I didn't want to cut it out. I'm sure you guys have all been there. So I distressed all over on my frame with the Antique Wax by Waverly. And it was a little bit difficult because I wanted to get the same exact finish on the plastic frame and the real piece of wood that I am using for the base. So it took a few steps, but I'll show you how I got there. I think I got them pretty close because I want them to kind of blend in together and kind of look like one piece. So, you know, I had painted the top and the two sides. I'm not going to paint the bottom. There's really no need. And then I went back and distressed with Antique Wax by Waverly, but I found that it kind of made it really dark when I kind of blended it together. So I did have to come back with that cashew color and then come back with the Antique Wax by Waverly because I was trying to get like all the different colors of wood on this one. And I guess it is different how I'm finishing this one from the first one because the first one, we added kind of more of that teddy bear color in there too. This one, we're just doing these two different colors. So I just kind of dry brushed and went back and forth until I thought it was going to look kind of similar enough to blend in for the base. And I think that looks pretty good. Now for the sign in between. The only thing I could find from the Dollar Tree that would fit in there was one of these little bamboo cutting boards from the kitchen section. So we are going to use this. It might be a little bit more heavy duty than you need. These signs are fantastic. But I'll show you how I make it work because it is kind of heavy. So I thought maybe you might be able to see the sides. So I just went over and distressed all of the sides with those same two colors, the cashew and the Antique Wax by Waverly, just now before I attached the image. And then I designed this image as well. And I gave my own crafty beach take on it. I made it a tiny bit larger than the cutting board. So if you're using the cutting board too, you'll just want to print this at 100%. And I'm sharing all of my files today. I made it a tiny bit larger so the pumpkin would kind of get cut off on the bottom. And this is how my design looks. I switched out the pumpkin for a blue pumpkin because it's going to go with my color scheme. I love a blue pumpkin. And then I use like the skinny font for friends and family, like the Ray Dunn font, just because I really like that one. And so I just cut it down to size, the same size as our little cutting board. And isn't it beautiful? I love this image. I did some like fall leaves behind it, kind of peeking out, kind of like they had on their original sign. So I'm just going to Mod Podge this image to it. And again, I used cardstock on this one just because I like to craft with it. I usually get like a whole ream of cardstock at Target. It's pretty inexpensive and it works great for crafting. So I did a nice coat of Mod Podge and then just laid that right on top and smoothed it out. Now, my camera did die here for a minute, so you are going to miss a couple of steps. I was drying it with my dryer, and my camera turned off, so I had no idea. I guess I really need to set a timer for 30 minutes because that's when my camera cuts off, and that's so frustrating because it doesn't make any noise or anything, right? I am Mod Podging it and sealing it. And the step that you are going to miss here is I went in with like an X-Acto blade and a ruler and I cut like little segments to make it look like little separate boards on the sign, and it provided a little bit of texture. And then I did a very light dry brush all over with that ivory paint just to make it look a tiny bit distressed. So those are the two things that you miss seeing me do, but hopefully we're good from here. Now I noticed that when I painted and distressed the sides, I got a little bit of paint on the back, and it's got this nice bamboo back. I don't really feel the need to paint that, so I'm just going to kind of sand off any of my excess paint there on the back. And then we need a way to hang it. I didn't really want to drill holes into this, so what I did is I just took some Dollar Tree twine, tied a knot, and stapled that to the back of my cutting board, and I'm going to do that on the other side as well. And so it hangs by string. So I think that will work. And now it's a matter of putting this all together. The first step I want to do is I want to tie the sign to hang down inside of the frame. So I just kind of went under the frame and I'm bringing it through, and I'm just going to tie a knot here. It's kind of tricky to do because laying flat like that, you really don't know how low it's going to hang. So before you get too far with this process, you might want to test that out a little bit. I noticed mine looked pretty good here, but then when I tried to like stand it up, it did hang a little low, but I'll also show you what I did to fix that. And I just double knot that to make sure that's secure and kind of leaving it loose on the frame there at first where it can kind of move around a little bit. This is when I tested it and I realized it was a little low. So to fix it, I'm just going to kind of bring the knots up a little bit more on the back and attach that to the back of our frame just to kind of keep that in place. And you can do this step with hot glue. I have my staple gun right here, so I'm just going to kind of staple into the plastic frame. I think that that's going to be pretty good. So that looks way better. And so now all I have to do is attach it to the base. Isn't it beautiful so far? I love that. Friends and family gather here. Now to attach it, I just do a bead of hot glue on my little craft wood piece from the Dollar Tree and sit the frame on there and hold it for a good while to let my hot glue dry. Now, I've done this before. I've done this on a recent DIY, and it had the glass in there and stuff like that, and this was very sturdy. But this time, I don't know if it was the weight of the cutting board. I found that whenever the sign would, kind of go back and forth a little bit like that, it kind of wanted to tip over backwards. And so I thought I probably need a larger base for this one. And so that's what I'm going to do. I did attach even more hot glue here in the back just to make sure that it stays in the right position. But then I'm going to go in with some more craft wood to expand my base to kind of fix that tippy problem. Trying to show you. It's just not quite right. So I didn't have that same size craft wood, but I did have one slightly larger. So you know what? We'll just cut this one down and we'll just make this a larger base. So keep that in mind if you're going to use a heavy sign inside yours like the cutting board. Now I just kind of have to distress it. First I wanted to test it to see if this would work. And it totally did. And it really doesn't take away from the design because it's kind of tucked away and hiding there in the back. So it's just a way to kind of make it blend in. I'm going to have to go in and distress this one exactly the same way. So again, I was just using cashew, and then I go back and forth, cashew and the Antique Wax by Waverly. Luckily, I spilt that all over like a kind of a cleanish surface where I was able to save all that Antique Wax by Waverly because, oh my goodness, I sure spilt a lot of it. Now, once I got it all distressed, I am just going to hot glue this base to the base we had before, just pinching them together. And that really did solve the problem of the tipping issue on this. And I really think I needed like just a larger base there in the back. So easy peasy, problem solved. And I think this was definitely my favorite DIY today. I think it just turned out gorgeous. I love like the slatted wood look by using the cutting blade to cut down through there. And I really like the image on there as well. So this is how it turned out. I'm kind of showing you it from a little bit of an angle to kind of give you a better idea of how the sign is hanging inside the frame. But isn't it so pretty? I really love how this DIY turned out.
It's a little bit unconventional, but I really like it. I think it's really unique and it looks great with my fall decor.
Now, look at this beautiful sign I found at Dollar Tree. The only thing is Dollar Tree doesn't know how to spell, but that's okay. We're just going to remove the misspelled tag. It's so cute. It's a shame that they messed that up, but I'm just going to remove all of that. I'm also going to remove the hanger because I kind of want to layer this sign with another Dollar Tree sign. This one here. I liked this one because it had the dark wood behind it with the light wood frame, which matches the light wood on my pumpkin. But I thought we could take some Cricut vinyl and redecorate that pumpkin really easily to make it say something that is spelled correctly. So I took the little hanger out of the side of my back sign just because it kind of sticks out and there's really no need for it. And then I'm also going to just kind of clean up some of the excess glue here on the sign. Isn't the sign beautiful though? I love the color. It's got kind of that honey color on it as well, which I'm going to try to focus on a lot today. Most of the DIYs have that. I thought to make the stem look a little bit better, I'm going to use just some Dollar Tree twine and just wrap it. But again, that hot glue gun was not working for me. I did have to switch back to my regular Ryobi one, and I'm a little disappointed. I don't know what's going on with this one. But hopefully I can get that fixed because I kind of like the ability to do like small amounts of hot glue like that, where my other one shoots out a lot. So I just wind it all the way up using hot glue to kind of keep it on there. It was kind of, at an extreme angle, but I like that part of it. Then I'm just going to burn off the fuzzies. And then I went to my Cricut and cut out of my favorite matte white vinyl. I get this stuff on Amazon. It's available in my shop, as is my paper transfer paper. And then I just cut out some words to go on the pumpkin. It's going to say autumn vibes. Try not to take the dot of my eye with me there when I weed that out. But I love this matte white vinyl because there's no gloss at all. It very much gives you the vibes of a hand-painted sign, but it's a lot easier than working with stencils. So this is my 6-inch paper transfer paper. I'm just going to use that to apply that to the adorable pumpkin from the Dollar Tree. There's plenty of room on here for whatever you want it to say, and I'll share this Cricut file with you as well. You might have to be a member to use this one. I will see what I can do. So there it is. Isn't it like pretty with like the white floral print on the bottom part of the pumpkin, the white writing on there? Now, since I wrapped the stem, it kind of sticks up a little bit there, more so than it does for the frame. So I kind of want it to look 3D anyway, so I'm just going to use a little Jenga block from the Dollar Tree just to give me something to glue that part of the sign to. And then at the top, I will just glue the pumpkin stem to the frame. And I think that looks really cool. The only thing I didn't like were the holes in there. So to kind of disguise those, I thought we could use some of these velvet push pins from the Dollar Tree. They're a very similar color to the wood. And I'm just going to attach them with hot glue right into the holes. Problem solved, and it kind of gave another cute vibe. And then I thought it needed a leaf, and so I decided to use one of these little craft board leaves from the Dollar Tree. I think any of these would be cute, but I thought this one was my favorite. I like the fact the wood or the color on it is very similar to the wood on that back sign. So it's very good. It's going to complement. And we have all these warm colors on here with all the different colors of wood and that like pretty honey color. And I love that bead trim along the front of that pumpkin. I think it looks so cute. But this DIY was so easy to put together and a quick fix for a little Dollar Tree typo. Now, I did notice that mine was not hanging straight, and I don't know if it's because I attached the pumpkin to the front, but to fix that, all I'm going to do is just move the existing hanger over a little bit in one direction, and that seemed to fix it. And there it is, our little autumn vibe sign. I love this. I think it's so pretty. It's got like that honey color, but it's not real loud. I would call it still kind of like more neutral. And I think it's just beautiful. It's got like that wood grain that kind of continues in that print below. And it was so easy to DIY by just adding some Cricut vinyl to it.
You could always hand paint some words on there as well to fix it.
Okay, the next DIY, I thought we could try to DIY one of these little chair covers. These are new this year, I think. I've never seen them before, but they're like giant scarecrow heads. I thought I don't really have a chair this size, and they're really large. Like, I don't know who would have a chair this big, but I thought we could DIY this and make this into a fall pillow. How whimsical and fun would that be? This one has like the brown hat, but when I flipped it over, I was surprised to see it didn't have a back. I kind of thought it had a front and a back, and you could just slide it over your chair. But you know what? It only had like a little bit of fabric just to hold it on the top. So if I'm going to make it into a pillow, I'm going to have to add material to the back, which is no big deal. I'll just see what I have from the Dollar Tree, and I found I had some tan fabric that was going to be the perfect size. So it doesn't really matter what you put back here. You're just going to have something large enough, because as you can see, I can barely get this whole thing in my camera shot because it's so big. I'm not gonna iron this or anything. It's just gonna be the back of my pillow. I was kind of afraid to iron the felt on the Dollar Tree Scarecrow pillow cover front there, because sometimes Dollar Tree stuff melts. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start here where that fabric ends, and I'm just going to put hot glue down the side of the Scarecrow, overlapping the edges of mine. Now this is just regular fabric, so it will fray a little bit. So I want to try to mitigate that. So I'm just going to do one section at a time. Basically, I'm going to hot glue that with a overlap so that I can trim that down even with the felt on the front of the Scarecrow, all the way up until I reach the brown fabric again, and then we can start stuffing our pillow. Now, once I get it all glued down, it's just a matter of cutting the fabric, and what I do is I cut it as close as I can get to the felt, and I'm hoping that the hot glue will keep it from fraying, and so far so good. It looks pretty good. And again, that's just the back of the pillow, so it doesn't have to be super pretty. I did find that if you cut from the front, it was a little bit easier to see what you're doing here. Now, I always have old pillows. I always save them because I don't like to spend money on like polyfill fluff when you can just use them from old pillows. This was a really large pillow, and it basically took all the stuffing that I had to fill it up. And so I'm just kind of breaking the stuffing up into pieces. That way, there's no areas that are going to be super bulky. But I thought this would be really cute, like on the bench in my entryway for fall. And it's really a nice size for a bench because it's so wide. So I have it stuffed. Now, I thought it would be a cleaner seam if I just used that existing seam on the brown felt and glued it with hot glue right on top of the fabric, sealing that all in. And even though I used just regular fabric on the back, I really didn't have any fraying that's visible. Now, the tricky part is doing this without burning yourself. I just put one of those Dollar Tree hot glue protectors on my finger and putting my finger inside the pillow to push up against the felt so it can kind of come into contact, because it has all that fluff on the inside. So it was kind of hard to get it on there and glued down enough to dry. Now, when I get this far, I just put hot glue on the felt, kind of sitting it down on there and kind of pinching it to make sure that it's attached. And that's all there is to it. We have a giant Scarecrow pillow. I think it's so fun. I tried to scare my son with this, and he was like, that's cute. It's not scary. I noticed that the little felt hair kind of wants to stick together. So I'm kind of sorting that out a little bit, but otherwise I think he's adorable, and just a fun use for the little Dollar Tree chair covers they have for fall this year. Really impressed with the size of these. This and like the Dollar Tree wood signs for Halloween are huge compared to what they usually are. So I guess that extra 25 cents is allowing us to get some bigger items. But this is how it turned out. Our little Scarecrow head pillow. I think he's so adorable. If you don't like the buffalo check for the strap, you could totally change that out for something else. But its face is so cute. It's already got all the hair and everything. So just a really easy, fun DIY that I think everyone would enjoy. And you can see it takes up like almost my whole bench. It's so large. Now the next DIY is super easy. I'm going to use one of those rub-on transfer stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I found this little glass frame there today. They had these like in this like brass or gold. They also had it in silver. I thought gold would be great for fall. And so it's got two little pieces of glass in there. Really, I only need one piece, but we're going to make it work. I just went ahead and peeled off the paper. For some reason, it's like the stickiest piece of tape ever on there, but we're going to use some Goo Gone and try to scrape that off. Now, I thought at first that this was like a glass sticker. It says pumpkin spice and everything nice, but it's actually a rub-on. But when I read the directions on the back, it said that you can use this on glass, so we're going to find out. So I finally got my glass cleaned off, and this is the one that we're going to use. And I'm really glad that it was kind of a rub-on instead of a decal because you don't really get any background. So just peel the back off and stick it on like a sticker, just kind of lining that up on our glass frame. And actually, I probably could have just done this on the glass that was still in the frame instead of having to fight that sticker. But I just used a popsicle stick to make sure it's down. And just like any of the rub-ons, just kind of test it. If it's not down all the way, put it right back down and scrape some more. And you'll never know that there was any damage to it at all. And I'm just going to keep doing that all the way up. And I'm so excited about pumpkin spice season. That's probably my favorite. I think that looks really good. Now's the time to get rid of fingerprints. It was really hard not to get fingerprints on this because there's really nowhere to hold it. We're not going to get fingerprints on it. But I'm going to do my best to clean it up before I put it back in that frame. And then it would drive me crazy, right? So I left the existing glass in there, and I'm going to put the back glass back in. It has these little like staples you can push down to hold it flat. And then it has a little built-in stand. Isn't that cute and easy? Now, one thing I did notice is when I tried to stand it up, it wanted to like kick back a little bit too far. It didn't want to stand up great for me. So I took it, tested it, and then decided I needed to maybe bend the tab on it a little bit to make it stand up a little bit better. So this is the tab I'm talking about. I just bent mine with a pair of pliers, kind of more towards the glass until I got it to stand up exactly where I wanted because it really was kind of laid back. That's how I want it, and that is how it turned out. Super sweet and easy. And anytime I can find a glass frame like that from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to pick it up because there's so many decals and different things you can put on that to make a really fun little sign. This would be cute anywhere because it's nice and small, like tier trays, office spaces, kitchens. Isn't it cute? Now, they have some really cute metal buckets for fall this year. This one's really traditional. It says Hello Fall, and I thought that'd make the perfect planter for a little floral arrangement, and I'm really loving some of their fall florals at the Dollar Tree. Now, this little green foam piece fits perfectly in their little metal buckets, so I always like to use this to fill it, no cutting involved. It does fit flat flush with the top, though, so I don't want that to be visible. So I'm just going to hot glue some Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree all over that to kind of disguise that. And, you know, that brown Spanish moss color is going to kind of go with my fall decor. Now, I'm only going to use like 3 picks with this one. I picked up a couple of cattails in kind of that honey color, and then some really high-end looking pumpkin pick there. Really, they're stepping up their game with some of their pumpkins this year. Once I get it all glued on there, the Spanish moss, I'm just going to give it a quick trim just to kind of clean it up a little bit. And now it is ready for flowers. You could always fill this up with a bucket of pumpkins too, but I thought if we added some florals to this, we can make it look even better. Now, these florals, they kind of have tabs where you can kind of shorten them. Makes it kind of easy to cut the plastic part. And then if you just bend back and forth, the metal breaks pretty easily. I'm going to do the pumpkin one right in front. I think it's so pretty. I kind of want that to be the star of the show. Just pushing that into the foam. And then I got 2 foxtails, the same color there today. They do have the fall florals out at my Dollar Tree, this local even if they don't have anything else out. They're killing me. And this is the other two. None of my Dollar Tree, I've been to two today. Neither one of them, their air conditionings are working properly. I felt so sorry for the employees in there because I was sweating. They have to really be sweating. It's too hot for that. I don't know if the buildings just can't keep up or what's going on, but it was even hot in Target today as well. So I did have to shorten the cattails as well. And I'm going to do one on each side of the little pumpkin pick. And I think the colors work really well together. The greenery on that really matches the greenery on the pumpkin pick. And we're just going to kind of slide that in there. Not much arranging needed. Just kind of trying to make it look even and full. And this DIY was so easy. Just to add a little bit of fall decor wherever you want to add it. Such an easy DIY. And look at those beautiful colors. I think they did a great job on those pumpkins. The way they're distressed look really nice. And I'm loving the greens and the browns there. And the little metal bucket, so cute for fall. You don't even have to DIY those anymore because they're so cute already.
I love how that turned out. Hey guys, have you joined my private Facebook group yet? I have it linked in the description of this video. You can find out when I post new content and see what everyone's been making. I'm also really active on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. My handle on everything is Crafty Beach on YouTube, and I would love to see you over there. Okay, for the next DIY, I wanted to do a really cute little Hello Fall sign, and we're going to be using one of these little Dollar Tree signs to do that. I do want to make a few changes to it, and I'm going to show you some fun techniques to personalize this. Now, it has a white frame, which I like, but for what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to have a white background, so I wanted to bring a little bit of wood grain to the frame, so I'm just using some antique wax by Waverly and distressing it ever so slightly and just blending that in. It's going to give it a wood grain. I'm also going to change out the hanger that is on the sign, so I just went ahead and removed the wood beads from the back.
Now for the image in the center, I designed this. I printed all the way to the edges. My printer doesn't go all the way to the edges because the inside of this sign is exactly 8.5 inches, which is the width of a piece of paper. And I wanted this to be wide. I kind of wanted to show you an option you could do here if you don't own a Cricut. And if you also don't have a printer, you can always get these things printed out pretty inexpensively at like Staples or wherever you have a print center. And I'm just trimming it until it fits in there perfectly. And I also did the circle on there. Basically, you want to cut all of the circle off if you print yours at 100% for this Dollar Tree sign. I put down a layer of Mod Podge and then lay it right on top. As you can tell, I didn't do the pumpkins. I only did the Hello Fall. And I will attach this printable below because I want to hand paint the pumpkin. So I do go over the top of it once it was dry with some more Mod Podge. And I was getting a little bit of bubbling. It didn't bother me too much, but I did not want the paper to come up. So I was trying to get it down a little bit because I do want to distress it and kind of make like boards too. Underneath of it, you can kind of feel where the cutout is for the wood slat. The top one was a little bit more obvious to me. If you kind of feel with your fingers, and then I'm just using my razor blade to cut, kind of give it that board feel. I did kind of mess up my letter there a little bit, but you know what? I'm going to distress this anyway. So in the end, I'm not really going to care. So now I have my wood round with the wood on the outside, white on the inside. It says Hello Fall. And then I'm going to go over the whole thing and seal it one more time with some Mod Podge. Now for the pumpkin, we're going to use one of these stencils from the Dollar Tree. They have some really great stencils for fall this year. And I only have room on this sign for one pumpkin. So I'm just going to center my little pumpkin stencil right on here.
And for the colors, I'm going to use like an orange color and then like kind of more of a reddish orange color combination to kind of make it look like a watercolor pumpkin.
I use a little stencil dauber from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to go over the entire pumpkin in orange first. And then I can go back and add some more colors and kind of blend in for that kind of watercolor look. So I mixed in some red, probably too much, and went back with like this red-orange color for every other little section of the pumpkin. And then I went back in with a chunky brush and kind of blended them, making them a little bit more abstract. And then I went in with a like teddy bear color, and we're going to do that for the stem. Now be careful. I kind of went in this little dotted area here with some paint, which I didn't mean to. And be careful using your heat gun, because what I think happened here is that the heat reactivated the Mod Podge, which caused this to happen. It kind of tore the paper off right here above my pumpkin, which kind of bummed me out. But you know what? I was like, I'm going to distress it anyway, make it look very farmhouse. So we'll make it work. But it did have a little bit of bleeding here. I didn't have the stencil down super tight. And so I was kind of expecting that. So I just go in with a little tiny brush and some white acrylic, and we're just going to touch it up a little bit to make it look a little bit cleaner. Since I'm going to distress it, the slappy look kind of works, but I did really kind of want to give that stencil effect on the pumpkin, kind of like the inspiration piece. And then to kind of fix my damage here, I just used some white acrylic to paint my torn paper here. And I had a little bit of bubbling and wrinkling too, which kind of caused a little bit of distressed look as well. And then I went and distressed the whole thing with some ivory acrylic and followed that up with a baby wipe. It's going to give the back sign more of an ivory feel with a little white distressing in there too. And kind of hid the fact that I ripped the paper on that one. So now it's just time to reattach a hanger. I'm just going to use some Dollar Tree twine. They get kind of fuzzy down there at the bottom of a roll. And just tie a knot on that. We're going to attach this to the back. This is a nice thick Dollar Tree sign, so you can staple through the frame here with plenty of room. So I'm going to just knot it and staple it just like they had their original wood bead sign on, or wood bead hanger on there. I think it turned out really sweet. I think it would match a lot of decor. If you wanted a blue pumpkin on yours, feel free to do whatever color you wish to do. And this is how it turned out. The Hello Fall, instead of black, I chose like a dark brown.
To make it not quite so much of a contrast, but I really love those fall stencils. I haven't seen them this year, but my stores don't have very much fall stuff out yet. So hopefully they bring them back again this year because they were great.
Now check out this really long pumpkin sign I got at the Dollar Tree. Look how thick it is. No bowing. It's nice and thick. Really impressed with the quality of these long signs for fall. And I like it. It says Happy Fall, which is kind of perfect. I wanted to see if I could kind of make it into something useful for my home. And so I don't really want to destroy the image. I do want to pop off the leaf though, with as minimal damage as I can. I will replace that leaf with something. I'm just going to go ahead and take the little raffia bow off as well. I want to leave it saying Happy Fall, and I love the little pumpkins that are on there. I thought we could make ours into like a little, like almost like a flower box that I can display on the table next to my entryway for fall. So it's going to kind of work like a little bit of a shelf sitter, but it kind of stands up on its own for an entryway sign. Now, I don't really like the bright red color, so I'm just going to distress all of it with ivory paint and just kind of working in one direction. I want to make sure that you can still read it. You can kind of still see the pumpkins, but I did want it to look distressed. And so it is a paper. It's not going to distress great, but I was just kind of distressing, wiping off the excess until I got like kind of an even level of distress all over that I was happy with. And then we can keep working on this DIY. Now I want to attach like a planter box to the bottom, and I picked up these little nested wood crates at the Target dollar spot. They're $5, but you get 3 of them. And these are the white ones. I think they're going to be perfect. White is exactly what I wanted for this. And the middle or the medium size crate is the perfect size for this Dollar Tree sign. Now, I do want you to be able to read fall still, so I am going to kind of have to make a stand to attach it to make it a little bit sturdier. But I thought while we're at it, we should go ahead and paint the little box. And they have these little self-adhesive stencils this year with the fall. And so I thought we would try one. It's just the right size for that little box. And I'm going to do the one that says, "Welcome to our patch." That's going to kind of go with the pumpkin theme on that. And you can just tear out the individual stencil. And I haven't used these before, but they're actually just stickers. So I'm going to peel and stick. Now I'll kind of show you what happened with mine. It wasn't super easy to lay down because it got all tangled. So I'm trying to like smooth out the parts that I can first, but it was those two little lines above 2 hour and like below 2 hour that kind of didn't want to lay flat. But you know what? We made it work. I just kept you can peel it off and rearrange it. And it's kind of cool because it sticks down all by itself. So it's going to make the stencil work a little bit better, but it was a little challenging to get on there. I'm going to use that same golden sunset color, honey theme. It's going to match with some of the colors in that fall sign, but be a little bit more of a contrasting sign. And I'm just painting that with a Dollar Tree like makeup sponge, just lightly pouncing over like 2 coats maybe. And you might want to use some painter's tape. So if you have trouble staying on it like I do. And we're just going to go ahead and peel the little stencil off. And success, I think it worked really cool. It's a little rustic, but that's always what I'm going for. And I'm actually going to make it even look more rustic by kind of distressing the front of it with a little ivory paint. Just to kind of make it look a little bit aged. And I'm glad I decided to add to that because I think that's a really fun little touch on there. Now to attach it, I thought one of these little craft wood squares from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. I can attach that to the back of the sign and then also attach that inside the box. Now I don't want you to be able to see it though. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint the top and the bottom of this just white. So we'll kind of blend in with the box that we're going to use. I don't normally pick this size up of the craft wood because I think $1.25 for this size of wood is not that inexpensive, but for little projects like this, it is nice because you don't have to do any cutting. So I can just fit it right in there, but the first step is to attach it to our Happy Fall pumpkin. The other long sign that I got from the fall section at Dollar Tree this year is like a really long cutting board. And I think that is really cool as well. I was really impressed with the quality of this. And I just glue that on the back of my sign like that. And then I can glue that little wood panel inside my base. But remember, we did tear that leaf off before. So we do need to kind of cover that up with something. I thought one of these little faux leather leaves from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. It's kind of like a really warm brown color. So I just pop off the stem on that and we're just going to attach that to the top of that with hot glue to kind of make, I think that I like that look better than just the paper leaf that was on there before. And I just attach it with some hot glue to the top. And now we can add this little fall pumpkin inside that box. Basically, I'm going to glue it from the back now. Right inside the wood crate. You can put it in there as low as you want. I do still want to be able to read the fall sign once I have some stuff put in the little planter box. So this is a great way to take one of those long signs from the Dollar Tree and make it freestanding. Now to fill it up, I'm going to use 2 of the little hay bales from Dollar Tree and some Dollar Tree pumpkins. I got those Dollar Tree pumpkins a couple years ago at Dollar Tree and they were like a darker orange. I painted them that pumpkin color because I like that a little bit better. So I'm just going to reuse these. And 2 of those fill up that bin perfectly, the little hay bales. And then we're just going to hot glue the little pumpkins kind of all over the hay bales. And it'll go with our little pumpkin patch theme. It's going to provide another little fall color here. And this was such an easy DIY to make for my front door. I'm hoping since the sign is nice and thick, it will hold up to a little bit of weather outside, but we will see. Have a little bit of protection on my front porch from weather, but not much. But this is how it turned out, our little happy fall pumpkin. I'm glad that I distressed it because that red was just a little bit too much for me. But if you like it, you could totally just leave that part alone. And here is our little crate full of pumpkins.
And I think it turned out really pretty and fun.
I found a porch sitter sign at Target for only $5. It's wood, it's super thick, and it's got a blank back. It does say welcome on it, which is what we're going to do with this sign. But you know what? I actually decided to DIY on the back because I kind of want the welcome to be on top of the pumpkins. Now, even though this is like a porch board, it does have a hanger on it, which I'll replace when I'm done with this, but I'm probably not going to use it. I'll probably just sit it on the table like next to my front door for fall. And I got this at Target Dollar Spot maybe a couple of months ago. I've been waiting for a perfect opportunity to use it, but you know, you can always use a shelf, or you know, you could probably find something at the thrift store pretty cheap or at the hardware store. Hardware store questionable though, because you know, wood can be really expensive, but you could also piece together some of the thicker Dollar Tree signs too if you kind of wanted to recreate this and couldn't find a big board. Now, I do kind of want to distress it, kind of make it look like driftwood again. So I just mixed ivory and antique wax by Waverly together again, and I'm going to distress this whole sign. So it's a really large sign. I can kind of only show you like maybe a third of it at a time. But as you can see, I'm leaving like the regular wood under there and just distressing in the same direction with that kind of driftwood color. Then I'm going to go back and follow that up with some antique wax by Waverly to kind of distress this one as well. It's a kind of a very kind of abstract distress that I did on this one though. It's not real obvious, but I kind of like the vibe that it gives behind all of the pumpkins.
And what I want this to say is I wanted to say welcome in white, and then I also wanted to have different color of pumpkin silhouettes going down it. And so what we're going to be using for this is Cricut vinyl.
I went through my like Cricut vinyl stash and I got some of those like multi-color, you know, the 12 by 12 sheets on Amazon. I think I still have those in my Amazon shop. I probably need to replenish. And picked out some colors that I thought would go good with my decor. So I picked out like blues and oranges, and then I designed 2 images, and I will share the SVG file if you want to cut this out on your cutting machine. And I made, one kind of had a larger stem and one didn't. I cut out one orange, one kind of this pretty turquoise color of the kind of shorter pumpkin. And then I did the taller pumpkin in this like lighter color of orange. It's almost like a yellowish orange, but I did it for a little bit of variety. And then I'm just weeding them out. As you can see, I made my design pretty simple, so it would be pretty easy to weed. And this one I had a little bit of Cricut vinyl left over from something as well. And it's very similar to that first one we did, but I think they're going to look really good together. So 4 pumpkins is what I used to decorate the large sign. And we're going to use my favorite transfer paper, which is the paper transfer paper that I get on Amazon. Absolutely love it. And start attaching these. I line it up intentionally so it will kind of go off the edge. And then I just cut it, leaving the vinyl attached to the paper because then I can go back and use my scraps to fill in the rest of the board. So just making sure that's done good and flat, we're going to remove our transfer paper and then make sure that's all secure. I will seal the vinyl down because I am going to be putting this outside. I want it to stay put. And I don't want the vinyl coming off. And then I'm just going to keep doing the same thing, working my way down. I thought we could like alternate like blue, orange, going down. This one, it's kind of hard to see, but I kind of went off on the side on this one as well. This was a little bit of the shorter, wider pumpkin. And I don't know if it was because I had just painted that surface, but my vinyl was not super wanting to stick to that, but I was able to smooth it out. And again, I am going to be able to secure it with some Mod Podge, so hopefully that will help it stay down. And this is my second blue pumpkin. I found that this project was a little bit time consuming, probably from designing the project and then waiting for my Cricut machine to cut everything out, because we're going to cut all of the letters out of my Cricut machine too. And so time consuming, but it was still kind of easy, I think. Just a lot of vinyl work, but everything was kind of large. So that kind of makes things easier too. So purposely cut that section off. And the reason I did that to save the scraps is because they kind of had some just edges of pumpkin on theirs too. Kind of like a background image with pumpkins all over. This was my other color of orange, which was a lot lighter. And that's going to be our fourth and final pumpkin for the sign. We're going to kind of make this one go off the side right over here. And I need like a second camera setup maybe for when I'm doing big projects like this, because I hate not being able to show you the whole thing, but in the end, you'll be able to see the whole thing. Now, this is the time for the scrap. So I have like these little scrap pieces that I can kind of put where they would be cut off, right? Along the edges, just kind of trimming those down to size. And then I'll also do like a pumpkin kind of going off the board over here. And maybe one more down here. And I had a fourth piece, but I don't think I really need it. Just trimming those up, and now we can make sure this is good and secure with a coat of Mod Podge all over. Whenever I do vinyl on a project like this that I do want to leave up all the time, like a wood sign like this, I do like to seal it with Mod Podge, and I'm just using matte Mod Podge, just going over the top of those. That vinyl that, I don't remember the brand on that vinyl, but I have had it for a while. That might be one issue. I didn't want to be super sticky either. Now, for the words, I used the matte vinyl that I get on Amazon. I love this, matte white. And I did a very blocky, huge letter, kind of like they did. And I have the Cricut file for this. I will share it, but you might have to have a Cricut Design Space membership. I did change the font though, so maybe not, but we'll check. If not, I'll try to convert it into an SVG if I need to. And it's just a matter of weeding all of the letters. I love this vinyl because it has that great plastic background. It makes it really easy to work with, as you can tell. And then I thought, since we're doing, 7 letters here, I'm just going to go ahead and do all of my transfer tape first. So they will be ready to go to fill up the sign. Usually I like to reuse it because it does reuse really well, but this is just my 6-inch roll and it works perfect for something like this. Now I'm using the back for reference because they had welcome on the back too. So I was looking to see where their C was so I could kind of center my word on there as well. And then I'm simply going to peel and stick our welcome letters on top. Now, one thing that I did notice, and I was kind of expecting this, is that you can kind of see a bump where the vinyl is underneath of it. And if that bothers you, one way you could fix that is you could peel your vinyl back up and cut out the vinyl that's underneath of it. And then reattach the vinyl. I don't know though, it would be a little bit more effort. Another thing you could do is stencil the pumpkins on the back and then do the vinyl on the front, and you wouldn't get that slight ridge. I don't think it bothered me too much. I am kind of a perfectionist like that, but this is going to be on the front porch. Most people are going to be seeing this from a distance, and so no one's ever going to know. And so I got all of my letters attached. I'm just going to use some twine to reattach a hanger here, knotting it in the front, kind of like they did before, just because I didn't really want to leave the holes open like that, but I probably won't be hanging this. It is a big sign that I kind of want to use as a porch sitter and let it lean down. And then I'm also going to seal all of my white vinyl that we added to the top. And I'm really glad that I changed the color scheme up on this. I really like the addition of the blue pumpkins. It makes it so colorful, and I think it's going to look really cute on my front porch. And this is how it turned out, our little welcome porch sitter. Using a $5 sign from Target Dollar Spot. Way cheaper. And I didn't distress the vinyl and stuff like that. I kind of left this one as is, but I did distress, of course, the board behind it.
It turned out exactly what I was looking for.
Okay, the next DIY, I thought we could take this little purple mesh pumpkin from Dollar Tree. This is from like the Halloween aisle, and make it into something really pretty because it's got a great pumpkin structure. Just not a fan of all of this purple mesh that's on there. And I want to give it a fall vibe, less of a Halloween vibe. So just a matter of deconstructing, taking that all off. It came with like an LED candle, which I tried to use at first by just reattaching it, but I didn't really like the vibe of the little LED light bulb in there. So I did end up replacing that with a battery operated candle from Dollar Tree. But it was a little bit of work to get all this deco mesh off, especially here at the top. Used a little heat to try to kind of break up the glue, and we have the metal structure. Now, I thought it'd be really fun to combine maybe a couple different types of the Dollar Tree rope on this one. So this is the brown thinner rope, and then we're also going to use the white thinner nautical rope from Dollar Tree and do different like sections, the different colors. So I chose for like the smaller rings inside, the ones that don't come out quite as far, we could do the brown rope. So I just cut one down to size and use that for reference to cut out all the others. And then we're simply just going to attach the rope with some hot glue. I just go from kind of the ring at the top to the ring at the bottom. That way it doesn't interfere with the candle operation there at the bottom. And we're just going to make this look like a really beautiful, like neutral color rope pumpkin for fall. That's also going to light up, so that's a little fun benefit. Once I got all the brown rope on there, I'm just going to kind of burn off any of the fuzzies, and then we can start working on the other section. I really like the idea of the two-tone rope, and definitely it goes with the neutral color scheme. So same thing, we're just going to cut down enough of these pieces to cover all of the other sections of the pumpkin and attach them with hot glue. I used the thinner white rope, but you could always use the larger diameter ones as well. There's kind of plenty of room to work with here. I just want to cover up all of the wire that you'd be able to see on the outside of it, but I don't really care if you can kind of see it on the inside. It's just going to provide like another like industrial touch, that like metal wire in there. Now, I didn't want to sit super flat like this, so I thought we would also make just a little base by doing a little ring of rope here at the bottom, where kind of all of the little rope pieces come around the little candle holder. And that's going to give it kind of a more solid base, make it stand up flat. And that looks pretty cool. Now we just need to decorate the pumpkin stem. I chose the white rope for that part, and we're just going to wind that around the little metal pumpkin stem that's already on that, kind of starting here at the very bottom, using a little hot glue to get it started, and then just simply wrapping it around, kind of gluing it to itself until I have a little pumpkin stem on the top here. Nothing too tall, but maybe a little taller than was on there before. And that's what it looks like so far. It's coming along. That's how it looks with like the little LED bulb in there, which I wasn't a big fan of, so I did end up switching that out. I think it looks really pretty. You could kind of leave it like this, but I wanted to kind of take it up a notch and give it a little bit more decor. But I also wanted to stay kind of like with the neutral, so I'm going to use some of these like, they're kind of like foam, white ivory flowers. They're vase fillers from Target. I think they're really beautiful. And I'm just going to glue some of those on there. And then I thought I would combine that with some of these little wood curl roses from Dollar Tree. These are like the sola wood. And it's going to totally go with that like white and brown neutral color scheme. So I thought it would be cute to kind of do 2 different kinds of flowers. And so maybe a couple of those as well. Then I always like to do a pumpkin tendril. You know me, so I'm going to use a little bit of that wire jute. Make a simple little pumpkin tendril to finish off this cute little rope pumpkin. And I think it looks so much better than it did before. That's when I decided I really didn't like the little LED light bulbs down here. I didn't think they really went with my vibe. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. I had hot glued it in, so just trying to melt the hot glue there. We're going to pop that out. It's the same size as the little battery operated tea light candles. And so I'm just going to use that instead by popping that right in there too. And here it is, our little rope pumpkin candle holder, I suppose. Very neutral color scheme. Super fun DIY to put together. And it looks so much prettier, I think, than the purple one did.
Really, really nice.
Okay, the next DIY, I want to do a wood round, kind of a wood round wreath. And so I'm going to use a Dollar Tree wood round. Mine is not so flat, but we're going to make it work. And I want to use a Dollar Tree decal for that. But first, I'm going to paint it that same golden sunset color. And this time I'm going to leave it as is. It's very similar to the honey color that I'm trying to get. And then I just kind of wipe off the excess with a baby wipe, so I still get that beautiful wood grain coming through. And then mine was a little rough, so I gave it a quick sand as well, because I want it to be nice and smooth so that I can attach the window decal to it. Now, to do that, I just put down a thin coat of Mod Podge, kind of all over. And I'm going to use this round one that says Hello Fall. It has a clear background, so I think we can make this work and kind of melt into the sign. This is a great option if you don't have a Cricut machine to personalize your sign. Super easy. Now, I smoothed mine out with a paper towel, but I also don't like that glossy appearance on there. I want it to look like it's part of the sign, and so I Mod Podge over the entire thing as well, basically going edge to edge on the sign, because you don't want it like a different like finish between the decal part and the wood sign, but it is super glossy, so it does take several coats to really mask a window cling when you use it on a wood product like this. But if you do like 2 or 3 coats of this, you're really going to get that sheen. So you can kind of see how much the glossiness has went down with the first 2 coats. But I'm going to give it 1 more coat just so that I'm happy with it. Now, I said like a reef sign because we're going to kind of create this like that. While I still have access to the holes on the wood round, I'm just going to go ahead and take some Dollar Tree twine and string that from the back and just knot it in the front. I like to hang it better that way. And the original hangers that come with this, you kind of have to hang the other direction. But actually, for what I end up doing to this, you probably wouldn't even be able to notice. Now, the leaves that we're going to use are from the Dollar Tree, and it's this big pack of like 50 maple leaves. It's got like all different colors. It's even got like some like burlap ones, and I think there's going to be plenty to like make a leaf wreath to go around the Hello Fall sign. And we're just going to attach it straight to the wood round, no separate wreath form, just to make it easier. And I'm going to kind of do a pattern. So I kind of started with a burlap one, and then I'm going to do like one of each color of the leaf, kind of creating a pattern, if you will, having them all go the same direction, slightly overlapped, just gluing those down with a little bit of hot glue. And the colors are really loud right now. Like if you like that look, you're going to love this. I thought it was too bright, and so I did a technique on mine to tone it way down, so I will show that to you in a minute. Now, when I went through all the leaves, I did another burlap, which was a different color, repeated the same pattern, and then I'm just going to keep repeating that all the way around the board. I was able to keep the pattern going, so that was kind of cool. Just by kind of spacing it out when I got towards the end, but just hot gluing around the whole thing to give you that like wreath feel. And I think this is a really easy way to do like a wreath for your front door or a wall hanging for your entrance with just one Dollar Tree sign. Now, this is what I was talking about. I'm going to take like some tannish paint and mix it with water. And I'm going to use a brush for this. What I want to do is mute all the colors in the leaves. You see how bright it is right now. Like, it's really bright. And nothing in my decor is bright like that. So I think it's really going to stand out. So basically, all I'm going to do is I'm kind of like whitewashing all of the leaves with that paint, with that watered down paint. And I don't really want to get too much of it on the sign, but if I do get some of it on the sign, I don't really mind. But you could already tell, even while it's still wet, how much that mutes the leaves. I think it just made them look more high-end and way more like of a neutral color because it was just a little too loud for me. So I got one coat on and dry. I decided to add a little bit more tan to my water to make it a little bit thicker. Because basically the leaves are just kind of like soaking that in and they get kind of really wet and then you just have to dry them. I'm just using my heat gun to dry them to speed it up. But as you can see, I went pretty heavy with that coat because I really wanted the colors to be muted. And I am giving them a good dry with my heat gun. It really changes the appearance on this. I'm just using a paper towel just to kind of mop it up, make sure I got everything dry on there. And I like it way better now. That's kind of a comparison before and after. So whichever style you like better. If you like the muted, that is a technique you can use, but it's as easy as that. We have our little Hello Fall Wreath sign, and this is how it looks hanging in my home. I really love using window decals from the Dollar Tree to make custom signs like that. That was so easy to do. And I really like the muted vibe of those leaves. That's much more my style. But I think it's really pretty for fall. What do you think? Okay, for the next DIY, we're going to use some of these wood planks from Dollar Tree and another rub-on transfer sticker. This one says Hello Autumn. And I thought we could make a really easy, like, little fall planter using these. So I'll need 4 sides for my little planter box and 1 for the bottom. And the first step is to paint them all. So we're just going to paint them all ivory at first here. And I really only need to paint like the outside. You're not really going to be able to see the inside of the box. Then I want to give them that kind of like driftwood vibe that we did before. So I'm going to do that by using Antique Wax by Waverly, a chippy brush from Dollar Tree, and just kind of dragging that down in one direction, giving me like a little faux wood grain, blending that in with a baby wipe, and you get this really cool like wood effect. I go back with a little bit more ivory to distress that some more because I thought it looked a little bit dark. And I think that looks pretty good. Now, I like to construct these planter boxes using these little Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to glue one on flat like this, lining it up against the edge at the very end of that one. We're going to do the same thing here on the other side. And that's going to give us something to glue to construct our little planter boxes. Now, for the other end, I can fit one more, so I turned this one up on its side. That way it's glued a little bit more to the side piece, whereas the other one is glued a little bit more to this piece. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here on a second one, laying this one flat, this one on its side, again lining both of them up with the edges, just like that. So you need 8, I guess, of those little Jenga blocks to put this together. Then I put some hot glue on the side of those, and we can just line that up, glue that on one of the other little side panels, trying to keep it as square as we can. Gonna do the same thing here on the other side. And just kind of holding those in place. Now for this last part, I'm gonna have to do it all in one step. So I put hot glue on all 4 pieces and lay like the remaining side on there. Now, when I lined them up before, I made sure that I went all the way to the end with at least one of the Jenga blocks. So that's also going to give me something that I can use to attach the bottom of this. going to give me something to glue to. So I put some glue on the tip of each one of the little Jenga blocks and laid the little piece of Dollar Tree wood right on top. I love crafting with these little wood panels from the Dollar Tree. They have them like in rectangles too. They're great because they're pretty consistent in size. You can see they're not bowed or anything like that. You can really build some cool stuff with it. And now it's time to decorate this little planter. I thought that we could decorate it with that little rub-on transfer. That's an easy way to make kind of a customized seasonal item like this without having to use your Cricut or anything like that. And again, it's super easy. All you have to do is peel off the back and stick that on there, scraping it onto your box. And I think it looks really pretty like that, but I kind of want it to look a little bit distressed, a little bit older. So I used some ivory and just go and kind of distress the actual decal itself, just to kind of make it blend in, make it look old and distressed like the rest of the planter box. Look how pretty that turned out. Now it's time to decorate it with some fall florals. So I'm going to start by using some Dollar Tree foam. I got this one. It's kind of like a square block. So I thought that would fit really nicely in there. It kind of does, but really only on its side, but that's okay. And then to cover up the foam, just to make it look a little bit nicer, I'm going to use some Spanish moss from Dollar Tree and just fill in the top. Then we can go ahead and add the fall florals. And sometimes if you add a little hot glue on there first, you can kind of keep it in place a little bit. Now, I found some great stuff from Dollar Tree to use. This one's kind of got like the cattails on it. It's also got like some pine cones. And again, I'm kind of going for like some neutral colors. It's got like the little cotton. So we're going to kind of mix those all up just by cutting them apart in separate pieces and just pushing those down into the foam. Then these cattails are a little bit different color, that great yellow color, which I think goes great for fall, but it's not too loud. And we're just going to keep building this just using fall florals just to fill up the little planter box. So I kind of line those up all around the edges, and then we can go in with some of these little burlap daisies. I love those, and the neutral color goes great for fall. And just kind of scatter those all over. And then I found these too. They kind of have feathers on them. I thought that looked really cute for fall. And the colors totally match what we did here in the pot. So I kind of put like 4 all over and kind of having those stick out the top there. And this is how it turned out. Our little Hello Autumn planter box for fall. This could go great anywhere. This would look really cute sitting next on a table next to your front door or something like that.
I combined mine with some more DIYs and kind of did a display on a cabinet in my living room, and I think it just turned out so cute. I love making the little like planter boxes like that. I think they're really fun to DIY.
Now check out this great ceramic pumpkin I found at Dollar Tree. It's white, but it's got this really cool, like, it's kind of like a concrete pumpkin. It's got a great pattern on there, but you can't really see it too much being white. So I thought I would bring that out by distressing it with some Antique Wax by Waverly, and then you can really see that cool texture on there. Kind of blend it a little bit so it's not too dark, but I really wanted to bring out all that great texture on there because I wanted like a few pumpkins and stuff to kind of sit around this little fall display that I did. And then I'm just going to use the straight Antique Wax by Waverly to actually kind of paint the pumpkin stem to kind of make that look a little bit darker. And once you can see all the cool texture on there, it's really gorgeous, I think. Now, whenever you paint with the Antique Wax by Waverly, make sure you get it really good and dry because it does take a little bit longer to dry than just using paint. Then I also found like kind of a neutral colored like fall fuzzy gourd from the Target dollar spot. And then I also found a little faux leather pumpkin from Dollar Tree. These are so cute. The only thing I didn't really like about it is the dark brown plastic pumpkin stem. The shape is good, but the color is just too all one color. So I thought we could kind of mix it up and distress it a little bit. So I go over the entire stem first with some ivory paint. Then I'm going to go back and distress that with some Antique Wax by Waverly. It's going to bring out all these different shades, kind of make it look more like a real pumpkin stem. And then we're just going to kind of scatter these around with my neutral fall decor. And I love all the different colors of ivory and brown. Aren't those so pretty? I really like that concrete pumpkin.
And it was really easy to make it look a little bit more high end. It almost looks like a wooden pumpkin there. I'm going to display mine with that leather pumpkin and some other items with the next DIY that's coming right up.
Now, this is a tier tray that I actually got at Target Dollar Spot. It's like a great like A-frame shape. It's got like 2 shelves on it. Not real big, but it's cute to do like a little fall decor. So we're going to use items from the Dollar Tree to decorate this. The first thing I'm going to use is one of these little Hello Autumn envelopes that they have. They have these like in like lots of different styles. They're all really pretty, I think. And I thought that would look cute, kind of hanging on the front, the little A-frame there of it. And I just kind of wanted to soften mine up a little bit. So I just go in and kind of distress the little Hello Autumn sign with a chunky brush and a little bit of ivory just to kind of give it a weathered appearance. And then I'm going to use like the existing hanger that came on there just to kind of string that over the top of this little tier tray. This is a really easy, fun little tier tray to decorate. You can just kind of fill it with a few fall elements. It's going to look really cute and it's a nice color. So that's how that looks hanging there. I think that's a great use for it. Then I found a great like wood monogram pumpkin. Well, it looks like wood with the monogram of our last name on it from Dollar Tree. And then I'm not going to combine it with one of these little yarn pumpkins from the Target Dollar Spot. This one's that great kind of like honey color for fall. And then this is actually a thrift find. And look at this great little metal leaf tray that I found at Goodwill. I got it half off, so it was only like $1.50. It's a great brass color, and I thought that would look really cute on the tier tray as well. So we're just going to clean it up a little bit and just add that to the tray too. It's not a very large tray, so it's not going to take very much to decorate it for sure. And this is how it turned out with those 4 elements.
I really love those $5 tier trays from the Dollar Spot at Target. I always try to pick those up when I see them. Now that Dollar Tree Plus also has tier trays, that would work as well. But as you can see, it's a really easy little tier tray. But let me kind of show you how I styled it all together with some of the other DIYs. So you can kind of see where I was going with this. I think it turned out really cute. What do you guys think about these DIYs? Okay, up next we're going to be doing a fun fall sign DIY with these little signs.
So what I'm going to do is make a fall sign out of these little palette boards from Dollar Tree. I had 3 of them. I'm going to stain them all with some Antique Wax by Waverly because you guys know that's my favorite. So this one's going to be like Antique Wax by Waverly, like a stain, a wood stain, and like an ivory together. Don't want it too dark. I want it to go with my coastal decor, but I just wanted a cute little sign for fall. Now, they do have the little areas here in the back. Kind of have to use a tiny brush to get in there, but then I just wipe off the excess stain, and we're going to go ahead and do all of them. I thought if I did 3 of them, I could attach them side by side and make a longer little sign. Now, if you wanted to make this a little bit bigger, you could use 4 of those because I'm going to spell out the word fall. So, of course, it has 4 letters, but we're going to kind of make it work with these 3. So it's just a matter of attaching them together. I'm going to use a little hot glue here on the ends. And like this little brace here, I'm going to start gluing those together. And I'm going to do that with the 3rd one as well. And then I thought we could kind of reinforce it a little bit too. On the back, I happen to have just some leftover bamboo pieces from Amazon from another DIY project that I'm just going to cut down to size, but you could totally do this with popsicle sticks as well. And I liked these because I could kind of hide them behind this little brace right here because they were nice and skinny. I guess a dowel would work like that too because it would be nice and skinny too. So I do that on the top and the bottom, and now we have a long sign that we can decorate. I want to do like one of these little wood leaves from the Dollar Tree for the A in fall, and then I thought we could spell out fall with just some little popsicle sticks. F, L, and L are really easy letters to make with popsicle sticks. It's just a matter of cutting them down to size. And this is definitely a trick that you can use to avoid having to go buy like expensive wood letters for a DIY. Crafting them with popsicle sticks is really fun. So I just cut down like the long piece for the F, and then 2 of the long pieces for the L, the same length, 2 shorter pieces for this little part of the F or the L, and then an equivalent size piece for the F. And spelled out the word of fall like that. I think that looks really cute. It's going to fit nicely on the sign. And now I do want to paint these. The wood leaf is actually an ornament from the Dollar Tree, so I did have to use a little spackle in that one to kind of cover that up. And then I just need to paint all of my popsicle sticks. I kind of want to do that separately so I don't get it on the wood that we just stained. So I am just painting all of the pieces ivory. I think it's going to be a nice contrast against the stained wood, including the little wood leaf for the A. Now it's time to put this together. This was such an easy DIY to make, and it turned out so cute. So just kind of laying it out here, making sure that all my letters are spaced out pretty well. And then we can just start attaching all the letters with glue, putting them together. They look just like wood letters. So a little hot glue on the back. I'm going to go ahead and do the leaf first, kind of tilting it off to the side. I always like to include shapes like that for letters. I think it turns out really cute. And then putting together the F and the L as well, and just gluing everything down to the sign. I did notice my L's were a little long, so that's okay. I could trim those down a little bit shorter, just making sure I have some spacing there between my 2 letters, and glue everything down here. Now, I also want them to look a little distressed, of course, so I'm going to use a little antique wax by Waverly and just distress all of my leaves and the letters, wiping off the excess with a baby wipe just to give a very light coastal distress. Now I want my sign to stand up, and so again, I'm going to use one of those little Jenga blocks from Five Below. It makes a perfect stand, but you can use whatever you've got. Craftwood would work great for this as well. I was trying to see, kind of if I needed 2 of them, and I think 2 of them would be a good idea. So I'm just going to hot glue that to the back here. Whenever you glue a wood block on here for a stand, you don't want to go quite to the bottom, but almost to the bottom, so that the piece can slightly lean back a little bit. And it's just a good way to display things without having to use like a plate hanger or anything like that. Now, I did notice that the top of my boards were not stained, so I just touched that up, but otherwise, I think it looks really cute. Now, I can notice you could still kind of see the hole in the ornament on my leaf, even though I used spackle on it twice. So I just cut down some Dollar Tree twine, tied a little bow, and we're just going to attach that. It's going to be a little decor piece, but it's also going to hide the hole there that was bothering me.
And this is how it turned out, our little fall sign. Very simple, but really cute. I like the contrast of the lighter letters there, kind of on the darker wood. And I love crafting with those little palette signs like that. They're really fun. And who knew popsicle sticks made such great letters, right?
Okay, next DIY. They have some really great fall signs at Dollar Tree. I wanted to frame mine out, and one of these wreath forms from the Dollar Tree is just about the right size. I just wanted to make a really simple little wall hanging, and I want to cover the wreath form though with something. And I thought I would use some of the burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree. You could always do this with the new burlap rolls they have too. I'm just going to simply cover the entire wreath form with that to give us a nice burlap frame for that beautiful fall sign. And we're just going to make a couple changes to it, take it up a notch, and make it really, I love the fact that there's like no glitter or anything on that. It totally goes with the look of my house. So I'm just going to roll this all the way around, securing any loose ends with hot glue. If I need to start a new roll, I just do so on the back I just wanted a simple round shape for a burlap frame. And it kind of has like a print of burlap on the sign itself, so it's totally going to kind of blend in. This is the sign. It says Hello Autumn. It's got like a beautiful like watercolor pumpkin on there. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the little bow that was on there. Try not to cause too much damage. And then we can attach this sign to the actual wreath form. So I just do that by attaching it with hot glue. And then we'll add a few more decor pieces to it. So I just glue that straight on front, leaving the existing hanger on there. Now I wanted just a couple like 3D pieces, and I actually had these left over from a Target dollar spot fall DIY, and they're actually like little sticker wood pieces. And I thought that would go great with kind of the style here of the pumpkin. So I added them. So I just added them for another little texture, little wood vibe there. And I didn't really want that original ribbon that was on the pumpkin, but I did kind of damage it a little bit. So I am going to have to add some kind of a bow there. So what I do is I use some of this beautiful like burlap and pumpkin ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to tie a simple little tiny bow just to go right on there, making sure my pumpkin design is kind of visible from the front of the bow. And then we're going to use some Target dollar spot greenery to kind of make this into a little bit of a wreath. So I'm just going to glue that on there. I wouldn't have done that probably if I hadn't damaged the pumpkin there. So if you like the bow that's on yours and it's not messed up, you can always leave that on there. This really reminds me of the watercolor pumpkin DIY that I did recently with the Kirkland's tube. Kind of a similar style of pumpkin. And I really like this greenery. It's kind of weird. It's definitely kind of a fall color. But I thought we could kind of just string this where it can kind of go down the sides of the wreath form just by attaching it with a little bit of hot glue. And this plant wasn't from Dollar Tree. It was from the dollar spot at Target. I think the colors really work well with it. I do make a little burlap strip here at the top to kind of cover where I kind of glued those on there. Kind of make it blend in. And then using a little few dots of hot glue along the edges to kind of make it go the direction that I want it to. And I think that looks really like something that would be in a pumpkin patch. A little wandering vine down the side. And this is how it turned out. It was so easy. Basically, we just made a frame, maybe a little bit of a wreath there as well. And this would be really cute in your entryway. I actually displayed this on the side of my cabinet in my kitchen. Very beautiful and so easy to do.
And I love it when the Dollar Tree signs don't have any glitter. I noticed that they have lots of really pretty ones again this year. So that's exciting. Okay, guys, have you visited my new website yet? It is craftybeach.net. It's my new blog where I'm going to archive all of the DIYs that I make here on my YouTube channel. So when you visit, you'll see multiple blog posts, like my most recent stuff first. If you click on one of those, you might have to close an ad, but it is going to take you to a photo album. So it's going to have every photo for all the DIYs I made that you can really easily pin on Pinterest, so you can remember to go back and make that DIY. If you scroll down, you can find the YouTube video and links as well down below. I'm going to have everything organized by season. I started it this spring, so basically I have everything from spring up until summer, and I'm still working to get it updated, but I'm getting there, I promise. I even have links to my Amazon shop for the items that I use in my videos that I get on Amazon, and I even have a link to my Etsy shop for those fun crafting meme printables you see me post on social media. Lots of fun. I run lots of sales over there as well, so you'll have to be sure to check that out. So it is craftybeach.net, my brand new website. Be sure to check it out and let me know what you think.
Okay, the next item, I found these little lace doilies for $1 at Dollar General. I don't know if they have these in the pumpkin shape like this at Dollar Tree. If you've seen them, but you'll have to let me know in the comments below. but I thought this would make a really fun DIY for a sign. Now I picked this up at Goodwill for half off, and it's just a really thick wood sign that I think is going to work well for this decor. Wanted a big chunky sign, but you could always do this with a Dollar Tree sign as well. This one had lots of writing on it. It was black. So I'm going to have to go ahead and kind of give me a blank canvas by just painting the whole thing ivory. What I want to do is kind of give it like that driftwood appearance that we've been using a lot today. But I also want to mask all that writing on there. So it took a couple coats of ivory chalk paint. I also painted a jumbo popsicle stick because I think I'm going to use that a little bit later on in the design. Then I just kind of lightly distress all over with some Antique Wax by Waverly, working in one direction, kind of blending that all in with a baby wipe, just to give us that coastal kind of farmhouse vibe ivory that I love so much for decorating. And I think that's going to make a really pretty background for the little pumpkin doily. And then on top of the doily, I thought it would be fun to do a wood leaf sign. So I picked this one up at Dollar Tree. It says Hello Autumn. And we're just going to stain the entire little wood leaf with some Antique Wax by Waverly. Also staining all of the letters that are attached to it because, you know, they're kind of there. They're kind of in the way. So you kind of have to kind of get in there with a brush and get all the surfaces stained. Then I'm just going to wipe off any excess Antique Wax with a paper towel. And I'm going to kind of paint the Hello Autumn a little bit more of an ivory color here just to kind of bring that out. It's a little hard to do this without getting paint on the sign below, but if you use a small brush like this, you can kind of get, you know, the best you can. And I always like to distress with ivory anyway, so if I get a little bit on there, I'll just embrace it, and I'll just distress the whole thing with ivory and make it look like I did it on purpose, right? And we're going to kind of layer these elements together today to make a really beautiful fall sign. Now, I did not patch the little holes, the little hanger holes there on the top, and they might interfere a little bit with the design. So I'm just going to kind of make them a decorative element just by taking some twine and stringing it through the back and making a little bow here in the front. Kind of make it look intentional. Just an easy little fix. And now we can start layering these, putting it together. The reason I painted the popsicle stick is because I knew that my pumpkin stem was not going to quite fit. So I thought I could kind of reinforce that by making a little background here, a little pumpkin stem that can kind of sit up on top of it, kind of poking off the top of the sign, which is kind of fun. So I just hot glue that onto the pumpkin stem and then line that up on our little thrifted sign. And just simply going to attach the lace doily with hot glue along the little sections here. You could always use Mod Podge for this as well, but I think the pumpkin doily, I think that's really a fun, beautiful texture. And then we're going to layer that by doing the little wood leaf sign on top that we did. I'm going to glue my little stem here in place so it will stand up on its own. But if you had a sign that was big enough, you would totally not need to do that step. And then to finish it off, the little Hello Autumn sign that we stained and painted, I'm just going to attach that to the pumpkin doily with hot glue. And it does have orange, so not super neutral, but I think it is kind of a little bit. But definitely beautiful, definitely like a classic feel. I decided to add even a little bit more texture by using some of that fall burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree and just cutting a strip down that would go all the way around the edges, and it's going to just be like kind of a little bit of a burlap frame just to finish this piece off. I'm just going to simply hot glue that around all the edges of my little chunky sign.
And this is how it turned out, our little pumpkin doily sign. I love the combination with the textures of the doily and the wood sign. Really fun for fall and just a classic fall decor that would go for most fall decorating styles. Very classic, but also really pretty.
Okay, the next DIY, I wanted to do a simple little pumpkin patch sign. I'm going to use one of these wood puzzles from the Dollar Tree because they have a wood back. And it's just the size I needed to make a little sign with one of the little wood trucks from Dollar Tree that already has like the pumpkins on it. So I don't really need any of the puzzle pieces and such. Basically, I just wanted the wood back on this sign, and I'm always looking for things I can craft with. So I'm going to cover the front of the puzzle with just some contact paper just to kind of finish off the back, but it's going to give me great wood to use on the other side. So I just cover that and then use a sanding sponge to cut that down to size just to finish off the back. You know, before they had so many wood blanks at the Dollar Tree, this was just a fun little hack that I used to do. Is using the back of these little puzzles, but they have so many blanks now that you probably don't need to do this unless you can't find one. But it works and it gives you a great piece of wood. So now that I have a finished back on this, I can start DIYing my little pumpkin patch sign. I'm going to stain it and bring out that great wood with some antique wax by Waverly. It's going to show all of that great wood grain on the back of the puzzle and just give me a nice stained wood sign to attach my little pumpkin patch or my little truck. And I'm not going to do a little blue truck for this one. I'm actually going to keep this one a little bit more neutral, like we did that fall sign with the stained wood with the ivory. In case you have more of a neutral color scheme, but you could always paint your truck whatever color you like. I do want to kind of keep the little rails on the truck where I can stain those, but otherwise I'm just doing everything else in ivory and just using spackle to fill any of the hangers, just to kind of fill up any of the holes and just going all over the whole thing. Now, if you have one of the little wood trucks from the Crafter Square that don't have the pumpkins, you could always add some of the Dollar Tree wood pumpkins to the bed of the truck like that, but this one's great because it's already attached. So I kind of paint, the truck that's behind the little rails there on the back, but this top part has these little wood rails, so I thought for a little contrast, I would just give them a quick stain with some antique wax by Waverly to kind of make those coordinate with the sign behind it. And then for the pumpkins, of course, I do want to paint those too. I want those to look more realistic, like pumpkins, so I'm just going to use some pumpkin chalk paint and just paint those. The only tricky part is trying to keep the paint off of the other section on this, so you might need to switch up to a smaller brush for that part, just to paint it a little bit more cleanly. And this little pumpkin patch sign was a very easy little pumpkin patch sign for my kitchen. So easy to put together, but I think it turned out really cute. So that's how the little white truck looks against it. Again, I think this would be cute in a little blue truck as well, but I was kind of going a little bit more neutral for the room this was going in. I am going to kind of measure because I do have some room there, and I'm actually going to use some Cricut vinyl from the Dollar Tree. Definitely not my favorite vinyl to use, but I was kind of experimenting with it. I don't like it because it sticks to the back of my mats and kind of ruins them, but I just put pumpkin patch open daily on white vinyl just to attach that sign to make a quick little sign. And I'm not really sure what fonts those were. I'll try to look those up. I just made that in Cricut Design Space, just super easy, and I just made it kind of a custom size to fit the area of the sign that doesn't have anything. I'm going to use my paper transfer paper to put it on there. That definitely works better than the Dollar Tree vinyl. But the Dollar Tree vinyl will work if you can get it not to stick on your mat. I've heard some people say you should put something fuzzy on your mat or use a low grip mat, but it drives me crazy. So I usually just use the rolled vinyl from Amazon. I really like that one. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put this on here. And again, nothing very colorful, just kind of white on wood on this one. Just trying to make sure all of my Dollar Tree vinyl is down. And then the little truck can go on the front there. Sometimes I like to sand my vinyl a little bit to make sure it is down in the grooves. And I wasn't too sure about this Dollar Tree vinyl sticking. And so I do go over the top of it with some Mod Podge just to kind of seal that down. And then we can just attach our little truck to the front. I told you this was going to be an easy DIY, and it certainly was. I'm just going to use some Dollar Tree twine to make a simple hanger before I get too far. And just attaching that with hot glue to the back of the sign. It's fairly lightweight. But I thought I would reinforce it with a little bit of burlap ribbon just to make sure. And now we can attach the little pumpkin truck to the front. I'm just going to hot glue that on. I did use a little bit of wood glue too, but I think hot glue would be fine on its own. And just glue that to the front. Our little pumpkin patch sign. I made this to go on the side of my cabinets for the fall. I think it turned out really cute. Now I wanted to distress everything slightly to kind of give me that coastal farmhouse vibe. And instead of distressing with antique wax, I'm actually distressing with that agave blue, just a little bit like on the fenders and the details of the truck. And then I'm also going to distress like the little orange pumpkins a little bit as well, maybe with a little bit of ivory. And then anytime like you do like vinyl lettering, if you distress it slightly, it's going to make it look a little bit more like a hand painted sign. And so I just distress the pumpkin patch with a little bit of Antique Wax by Waverly too, just to kind of blend it all in. And I think this pumpkin patch sign was so sweet and so easy to DIY and hopefully gave you a little crafting inspiration. I did do a little bit of distressing with the Antique Wax by Waverly on just some of the details of the truck as well, just because it was kind of so plain white. But that's probably just me being extra. I like to bring out the details on the main part of the truck. Just a little soft weathering. I also thought it would be fun to add like a little detail to the bed of the truck. And I did get some fall ribbon that I think would coordinate really well. It's this burlap ribbon with the little orange pumpkins on there from the Dollar Tree. And I thought that would be fun to kind of put here, kind of over the opening here. Doesn't that look cute? It totally matches. And so I just cut a piece down to size and we're just going to glue that right onto the truck. I also thought a little decoration for the door would be cute, and so I'm going to use a Dollar Tree little blue pumpkin sticker for the door. And then I decided, you know, blue's probably too colorful for the color scheme, so I switched it up to an orange one. Gonna glue the ribbon down here, and these little final details I really think made the pumpkin patch sign work. And one last distress with a little bit more ivory on that pumpkin that we added just to kind of make it look rustic and go with the truck. And then I also wanted to distress like the stain sign behind it with ivory as well, just to give the whole thing a farmhouse vibe. And that's it. This is how it turned out. My little coastal pumpkin patch sign. I like that it looks really weathered. I like that it's not super colorful, but it's got some really fun little details.
I think it would look really pretty if you did like the little blue truck version of this sign as well. I'm a little partial to blue, even for my fall decor. Now up next,
I thought it'd be really fun to make a faux pumpkin spice. So I'm going to use one of these little plastic coffee cups from Dollar Tree and some of their caulk mastic and just make faux whipped cream to kind of make this look like it is full of pumpkin spice latte. At first I tried to use spackle in one of the decorator bags and it totally didn't work. And I think it's because I didn't mix it with white paint. I think that would have probably given it a better consistency, but you can always use this caulk mastic from the Dollar Tree. Kind of gives you a fun vibe. I tried to use a little decorator tip on the end of it to kind of give me a fancier whipped cream, but basically just going all around until I kind of get like a little pointed whipped cream. And then I just use actual real cinnamon sticks and just stuck those right inside to make this look like a pumpkin spice latte. And I even had some pumpkin spice. So I sprinkled that all over the caulk mastic too. You could also use cinnamon for that. It would be about the same color. And then I'm going to use a pumpkin spice window decal on the front of the cup. So I just do a little bit of ivory paint to cover up the words that were on there. Then cover the front of the cup with Mod Podge and just put my little pumpkin spice latte decal on the front. This was such an easy DIY to put together, and it looks really cute for fall. I went over the top of the window decal with some more of the Mod Podge. I know you can't see it from this angle right now, but I'm going to show you in just a minute. I didn't want my like faux whipped cream to fall over. But basically, it's a cup of pumpkin spice that I put straight on the front of the cup. And then I distressed it lightly with a little bit of ivory just to break that up a little bit. And this was so easy to do. Our little faux pumpkin spice. I actually displayed mine on my coffee bar for fall. Such a fun, easy fall DIY. Looks good enough to drink, doesn't it? Better not try that though.
And you could really do that in just about any kind of coffee cup. You could even do that in a coffee mug. I always enjoy like the faux drinks. I think they're really fun. And this one, I love pumpkin spice.
Okay, the next DIY, we're going to do a fun window decal pumpkin. This is actually a Dollar Tree sign, but I got it for 50 cents, half price at Goodwill. And so we're just going to go ahead and use that for the pumpkin shape. But it doesn't matter which kind of pumpkin you get. I just needed a pumpkin shape. So I just removed the hanger off this one and the bow and the leaf and stuff like that. So I can kind of have a plain surface to work on because we are going to make a fun little window decal sign. I don't really care what's on the back of this, but just to clean it up a little bit, I'm going to use some of this like wood contact paper from Dollar Tree and just stick that on the back. It's just going to cover up everything back there, make it look a little bit better. Maybe seal in any glitter. I was trying to cut that off, but you know what? It's so much easier just to use a sanding block. So I switched to a sanding block and it gives you that perfect cut all along the edges of your pumpkin. And then we can start decorating the back side of it. That way I'll have kind of a plain surface. And I wanted to use a really fun pumpkin spice window decal that I found at the Dollar Tree. So I wanted to have an ivory background, so I'm just going to use some ivory chalk paint and go all over the back of this pumpkin. Once you add a little paint to those backs of those Dollar Tree signs, you can kind of make them look like wood. And even though it was chalk paint, you can kind of still see the brown through there. So it is going to require a couple coats to give me that bright ivory color that I want for the background. And it's a rather large window decal that we're going to use. And it talks about pumpkin spice. So I think that's going to be really fun. To glue it down, I'm going to do a thin layer of Mod Podge all over the entire pumpkin. And here is the decal. It kind of comes in pieces. And it says, "Home is where you smell pumpkin spice," which I thought was funny. I kind of like the fact that it came in pieces because I was able to kind of like space it out exactly how I need it to make the whole sign. Then I'm also going to add a couple other little decals that I thought would go well with it off of the same sheet. And attach those with Mod Podge too. This is a great way to DIY your own signs if you are not lucky enough to own a Cricut. And sometimes if you don't even want to get your Cricut out, which is me half the time. So once I got that on there and dried, I'm just going to go over all of the window decals with more Mod Podge. I'm using like a matte finish to kind of take away some of the glossiness from the window cling. And kind of sanding it up as well, just to make sure it is down and secure. Now, to really take it up a notch, this Dollar Tree sign, I'm going to use some of these little wooden half beads. I get these on Amazon. I've never seen these at Dollar Tree. I wish they would have them. They make great, like, little borders for signs like this. And so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to hot glue these all the way around. And I do think I have these linked in my Amazon shop below. I always love crafting with these. And this is a great size to work with. I'm just trying to space them out evenly and kind of mirror one side to the other. It might help you to lay them out first. I'm just attaching them all down with a little bit of hot glue. And it's really going to make this cheap Dollar Tree sign just look so much more high-end. It's going to make it look thicker, provide this great texture. And I'm going over and painting all of the wood beads the same ivory that we painted the back of the sign. And then, especially when I work with like any kind of vinyl or decals, I always like to distress them as well. So I'm just going to distress them with that ivory, kind of break it up, make it look not so perfect, and kind of make it blend in more with the sign. So I'm just going over all of those. If I get too much on there, I just kind of wipe it off with a paper towel. I just want a slight distress on everything. And then I wanted a little touch of blue on mine, so I decided to distress the wood beads with some agave chalk paint, this color of blue, just to add a little bit of color to this, even though it's mostly neutral. And then I go back and kind of distress those with the original ivory color, so it's not too much. Then I decided to distress the whole pumpkin with the blue to kind of make that make more sense. Just a fun idea to distress the ivory with distress it with blue instead of the other way around. And then I just make a little hanger. I use the same exact hanger that came with it, popping that back on, and then just using some more twine to glue that and wrap it around the little pumpkin stem, just to make the pumpkin stem look a little bit better here. You definitely have to use some hot glue to start and stop this. But that looks really cute. Gonna burn off any fuzzies. And it came with this little metal leaf, so I might as well use it, right? So I'll just go ahead and give that a coat of ivory and a coat of that blue agave color that we were using just for fun. I really kind of wanted to look super distressed. So I go back over with a little bit of ivory and then just glue that little fall leaf to the pumpkin stem. And then, of course, I have to have a curlicue, a little tendril made out of wire jute from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to attach that to the jute covering the pumpkin stem here on the back. Have it kind of stick out to the side like that. And I think this turned out really beautiful. You would never know those were just window decals. And I love this saying because I'm all about the pumpkin spice.
Even though, it's a little too warm for it just yet. I'm going to have to wait a little bit before I break into the pumpkin spice, but I like to make my own. I love it. It's my favorite part of fall, I think. Okay, you have made it to the final reveal. For all 20 of the fall Dollar Tree DIYs, hopefully you got lots of crafting inspiration. Be sure to leave a comment down below and let me know which one of the DIYs was your favorite, or just come say hello. I love reading your comments, and enjoy the final reveal.
Train just left this town while I'm slowly It's the only thing that tells me I'm breathing. I lost you from the start. Someone said your heart is golden. All I got was my heart broken. I can see the dawn is coming just for you, for you. Someone said your heart is golden. All I got was my heart broken. I can see the dawn is coming just for you. It's just for you. Oh, it's just for you. For you.
Open up the window. I'm breathing in the last of September. I can feel the wind blow, and the late summer sky is like a giant ember. Everything is turning into gold. When the autumn leaves are playing chase it, puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. Since I was a little child, every year for as long as I remember, all the leaves were running wild, going all the way until November. Turn the world around us into gold. When the autumn leaves are playing chase it, puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. I wonder where they're going, the flight of swallows sailing through the sky. There's no way of knowing, but maybe someplace far from you and I. When the autumn leaves are playing chase it, puts a smile up on my face. They leave their branches one by one and whirl around there just for fun. Some are faster, some are slow, and some are high and some are low, dancing through the last days of September. When the autumn leaves are playing chase
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's video. I also want to give a huge thank you to all my Crafty Beach Bum members for supporting my channel here on YouTube. Thanks so much to Karen O'Haron, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Tracy Knight, Nancy Wunner, Janae Farrington, Julie Miller, Pamelia Wren, Maria Grace, Donna Schreiner, Sandy C., Live Another Day, Tracy Wooldridge, Marin Christensen, Debbie Middleton, Vicki Connors, Adrian Brolt, Deborah Caldwell, and Red Mama. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you all so much. And if you'd like to become a member, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video. You're going to get early ad-free access to my videos, and it is $4.99 a month. You're free to cancel at any time. Okay, would you like more fall crafting DIYs? I've got you covered. Check out this DIY video right here. And until next time, happy crafting.